What's going on, guys? So in this video, what I wanted to do is talk about why I love what I call grunt work so much, especially for the younger kids, but also just for everybody in general. So if you guys have been following me on social media for a little bit now, you've probably seen me post a bunch of stuff about grunt work. You kind of have an idea of why I like it and what it is. But for those of you that may not, so basically it is what I call, or consider, what I define it as, you could say, anything that's going to be kind of like an odd object or potentially an odd movement. So not a squat, not a deadlift, not stuff with barbells for the most part. It's going to be your carries, your, maybe some medicine ball throws, a lot of sandbag work, sandbag carries, farmer's carries, suitcase carries, some sledgehammer swings, any type of sled work, stuff like that. That's going to be pretty straightforward movements, pretty simple exercises. I guess you could say, again, you're not your typical type of exercises, things that you might see somebody kind of like doing if they're working on a farm, right? So if you've ever seen like some people call this like farm boy strength or farm strength. They tend to be very, very, very strong people if you've worked on a farm for a little bit. So it's a lot of movements like that that are gonna get you moving in different ways, a little bit outside of the traditional gym stuff, and moving with different objects outside of your traditional maybe barbell or machines or just dumbbells. So one of the main reasons that I really like this style of training is very simple movements. Hey, grab this sandbag, go walk there and back. Grab these 2 kettlebells, walk there and back. Here's the sledgehammer, just beat the heck out of this tire for a little bit. Very, very simple movements that can get a lot of work done. Even something a little bit more complex says, hey, there's a sandbag on the ground or a heavy medicine ball, pick it up, throw it over your shoulder. It's a little bit lighter, maybe bring it up all the way over your head. Or here's a little bit of a lighter medicine ball, just launch it as far as you can. Very simple movements, very instinctual movements that younger kids can really pick up on. If I'm working with a 13-year-old and I'm only seeing them maybe once or twice a week for 45 minutes to an hour, we've got to make sure we're getting some work in. Yes, we want to teach this back squat and the deadlift and lunges, things along those lines. But at the end of the day, work has to be getting done with. They have to actually be working out. They can't just be being taught the entire time. We got to get that work in. So grunt work style training and style exercises can really go a long way because they really minimize the amount of time that needs to be taken in a session when teaching. So the second reason and bigger reason I really like this style of training is the muscles that it's going to be working. So I heard it said really well by a guy, Strong8, which is JJ Morris. If you are not following him on Instagram already, you definitely should. He puts out a bunch of good stuff, especially if you are a baseball player. But anyway, they train the go muscles, not the show muscles, right? So yeah, our chest, delts, biceps, they're great, right? When they look good, we enjoy that, but they don't really get much work done when doing things or playing sports. Grunt work is going to be really, really good for your forearms, your traps, upper back, lats, lower back, a lot of core work, and your legs. Those are the muscles that are getting things done when we're playing a sport, when we're hitting a baseball, when somebody's trying to lay us out in hockey and we can stand our ground and not get run over, or we're running in football and we need to tackle somebody. Things along those lines, the athletic movements, the sport movements. Grunt work is going to be really, really good when building the strength in those muscles. To follow up on that, it leads into this theory that I have. Again, if you've been following me on social media for a little bit, you've probably heard me talk about this, where kids just don't play anymore. It's just the times that we're in, and they don't build that foundational strength that older generations did when they were kids. When there were no iPads or video games or anything like that, there was nothing else to do, so you just climbed trees and you played sports and you ran around and you biked and all those type of things. You helped your parents out with manual labor around the house. All those types of things that you did when there was just nothing else to do and you did it for hours. That type of stuff builds a lot of strength, a lot of core strength, a lot of grip strength, leg strength, all that type of stuff. It gets those muscles very, very strong, and it builds that foundational strength that kids don't have today, right? It's partially not their fault. They grew up with iPads and video games and, having to be in school for a little bit longer, and gym doesn't really exist anymore, or it's optional, and recess isn't a thing anymore. Kids aren't moving around, they aren't playing, they aren't just doing those functional, I don't really like the word functional, but those movements that build foundational strength, because they're not doing them for that long anymore. So that's another reason I really like grunt work. It is just basic stuff that kids have been doing forever, working on a farm or just helping their parents around the house or just playing with their friends, that they don't do anymore. So I try and have them do them in the gym or at home, wherever it might be, to build that foundational strength so they can stay healthy while playing their sports or just living their lives. Guys, thank you so much for sticking around. If you enjoyed that video, please give it a thumbs up. If you enjoy this type of content, please make sure to give me a subscribe so you can stay up to date for when I'm releasing other videos, all right? And as always, make sure you're following me on my other social media channels where I'm pumping out daily content for you guys, all right? I will see you next time.